Hello. I wanted to come in here to talk about something that happened to me this week, and I feel like we need to talk about. I skipped a conference that I was really looking forward to going because of my period. I had taken the morning off from my full-time job to go to this conference, along with professionals from my field to network. On the day of the conference, I actually woke up with really intense and nauseating cramps. It was the first 24 hours of day one, and I made a really hard decision to stay home. I took breakfast so I could take some meds for the cramps, but I still felt so crampy that I just went hit my hot water bottle and fell back into bed. I knew that I could force myself to go, but if I went, I wouldn't really be present. I wouldn't really be listening to the speakers, and much less have any will to network. So I stayed home. But I also want to talk about the privilege that comes with staying home. I know fully well that not every woman or person who menstruates can afford to stay home and miss a meeting, skip a conference, etc. But despite that privilege, I still felt very guilty. Guilty for having taken the morning off my full time job and not even going to the conference. Guilty for missing this opportunity that the conference had. Guilty for listening to my body, guilty for spending a whole morning sleeping. And I want to talk about this guilt. I think that this guilt does not exist in a vacuum. I think that it exists in the current society that we live in, that it's so patriarchal, so sexist, so capitalist, and clearly not a society that's made for us, women, and people who menstruate. It really feels like society built around this 24-hour cycles of endless productivity that men can do, but as women can't. Of course, we still run on 24-hour cycles, but women and people who menstruate are above anything cyclical beings, and we run on our menstrual cycle, which has four, some even argue five phases, and each of that phase impacts our energy, our mood, our productivity, our mental focus, etc. Um, and society doesn't really take this into consideration. And from a very young age we are taught to hide our periods, to push through the pain. That pain is just part of being a woman, and feels like we see rest as a weakness. But is rest really a weakness? Because personally, as I get older, I feel like rest is an act of resistance, it's an act of self-care, it's actually being productive. So I just wanted to come in here and talk about how important it is to listen to our bodies, to honor our cycle, and also to reclaim the autonomy of our bodies in a world that's not really made for us to be connected with ourselves. And I wanted to ask you, have you ever felt guilty for listening to your body, for honoring your cycle, for resting?